Hey everyone, welcome to the Engineer Playbook. I am Mauna and with me is Anmol. This is our very first video and we are so excited to finally be doing this.
Yeah, first video, no pressure at all.
No pressure whatsoever. So today we are diving into something we have both been genuinely using, Claude Code. It is Anthropic's AI coding agent that runs directly in your terminal. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand it end to end. We are going to cover installation and setup from scratch, how the context system works, and how to build your own custom commands and skills, and how to tune the permissions so it fits the way you actually work.
And the best part, I'm going to do everything live on screen so you can follow along at home in real time.
Exactly. Whether you're a solo developer or part of a team, this covers everything from the basics right through to the power user features most people never even discover. Let's get into it. Before we touch a terminal, what actually is Claude Code? Because the name alone doesn't tell you much. It is not a chatbot you paste code snippets into, and it is not autocomplete. Claude Code is a fully agentic AI coding tool. And what that means is that it takes real actions inside your actual project.
Real actions, meaning it's not just suggest things.
Exactly. It reads files, writes changes to disk, runs terminal commands, commits to Git. It's operating on your code base, not just talking about it. The biggest thing that separates it from other tools is what Anthropic calls large context, whole project understanding. Most AI coding assistants only see the single file you have opened right now. Claude Code reads across your entire code base, multiple files, folder structure, how functions connect to each other.
So it actually understands the project, not just a file in front of it.
Right. Here is a concrete example I want to mention. Say you ask it to build a drop down component instead of just generating something from scratch that you then have to wire. It scans your repo, existing reusable pieces like button component and list components, understand how they work, and builds a drop down that uses them properly. That's what context at the project level actually looks like.
And it does that without you pointing it to these files.
Without you saying anything. It figures it out. That's the agentic part. It's not waiting for you to give it perfect instructions. It is going to look for what it needs. A couple of other things worth knowing. Your sessions transfer seamlessly between the terminal, Visual Studio Code, the desktop app, the web. Your context follows you across all of them.
Oh, so I can start something in terminal and pick it up in web later.
Full context, no re explaining, and Claude is designed to reason more carefully than a basic chat model. It breaks problem down step by step. And importantly, it is much more likely to say, I am not sure, to give you a confident wrong answer.
Getting a confident wrong answer from AI is the worst outcome.
Now, quickly, how does this compare to tools people are already using like Copilot or Cursor? Simple way to think about it is Copilot gives you autocomplete, Cursor gives you IDE chat.
And what about Claude Code?
It's a fully agentic control. A developer that reads your files, makes changes, runs your tests, and commits to Git. Think of it less as a suggestion tool and more as a pair programmer, happens to be available 24/7 and never gets tired.
Yes, that makes sense. But what's the catch? What about the cost?
The free plan gets you the Claude AI web chat only, no terminal agent. So if you're on a free and wondering why can't you follow along, that's why.
So you need at least Pro to use everything we are showing today.
Exactly. Pro is around $1.20 a month. That gets you the Claude Code terminal agent. Sonnet as the default model and roughly 5x the usage you would get on the free tier. For most developers starting out, Pro is a right entry point. It is what Anmol is using today.
Yep, Pro. Been using it for a few weeks now.
Then there are the max plans, $100 a month for 5x usage and $200 a month for around 20x. Those are really for teams where Claude Code is a core part of the daily workflow. You get Opus unlocked, priority access, and at the 20x tier, Anthropic says the savings versus equivalent API billing are almost around 93%.
So it actually works out cheaper than API at scale.
Significantly cheaper at that tier, yes. The advice is simple. Start on Pro, Upgrade when you're actually hitting limits. Don't over invest before you know how you're going to use it.
But how does my usage get tracked? I mean, how do you define the consumption of AI? Is it upon number of prompts?
That's actually a good question. There is one concept you need to understand first: tokens. Think of tokens as the currency AI models used to think. Every word you type, every line of code Claude reads, every response it gives, all of that is measured in tokens. One token is about 4 characters or 3/4 of a word. So 1,000 tokens is roughly 750 words. Every model has a context window, a limit on how many tokens it can hold in memory at once. That includes your prompt, the conversation history, all the files Claude has read, and the response it's writing.
When you hit that limit,
context starts getting dropped. Claude literally starts forgetting things it reads earlier in the session, which is exactly why there is a command called a /clear, and it is so important. But we'll get into that.
got it. So it's basically the unit of measurement for everything Claude reads and writes.
AI understandable information.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned things like unlocking Opus, Sonnet. What are those?
Yeah, since we mentioned models, you have 3 to choose from, and understanding which to use when will save you both money and frustration. Haiku is the fastest and cheapest. Use it for quick tasks, simple refactors, inline suggestions, one-liners, anything where you want a fast answer and don't want to break your flow.
So haiku for small stuff.
And the next one is Sonnet. It is the everyday workhorse. It's the default for Pro. And honestly, it's what you should be using for probably 90% of your task. Writing features, debugging, code review, writing tests. It's a best balance of quality and the cost.
And when does Opus come in?
Opus is the most capable and the most expensive. Save it for genuinely hard problems, complex multi-file refactors, architecture decisions, ambiguous bugs, where getting the right answer matters more than getting the fast ones.
And can you switch between them mid-session, or do you have to restart the entire thing again?
Mid-session, no restart needed. Just all you have to do is press /model as a command and you're done. So a common pattern is you start on Sonnet, hit something that is actually hard, switch to Opus just for that problem alone, then switch back. You're only paying for the expensive model when you actually need it.
That's smart. Okay, we actually want to try this now. Can we get it installed?
Okay, 2 prerequisites before we do anything. First, Node.js version 18 or higher. Can you please go ahead and check what you got?
Okay, so I got 20 something.
Perfect. You're like well above 18. If anyone is watching and if they're on below 18 version, head to nodejs.org and grab the latest LTS. That will sort it out. Second prerequisite, Claude Pro or Max or Team subscription or even the Anthropic API key would be better. If you would rather pay usage based, then you can still go ahead with Anthropic API key. Most people watching will just use their subscription. So now let's install. The recommended method is the npm because it is an auto updates one.
It's done installing, and that was fast.
Great. Can you please now verify it with Claude version?
And the version is 2.1.89.
Cool. Can you now authenticate? I think this is going to open a browser.
Okay, my browser has opened. I'll just click on authorize. Yes, it says login successful.
Cool. Perfect. Now can you just cd into your project folder and just type Claude?
Sure. I am in my packages folder. Let me Claude here.
Yeah, Claude has already started, I think, and it is connected. It is working fine now. So now let's see to check if the Claude is working fine. Just give some prompt, like any prompt you like.
Let me go with the basic one. What's in this project? And see what happens next.
Sure. Look at that. I think it started reading project structure, the code base, I think the packages, the files,
Right.
the main files are doing, how things are connected, etc. Right?
Yep, it just tells me about the modular package that I have. It even tells me like which Git repository it is part of, what all my core APIs, everything. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And it just figured it out by itself.
Yeah. So it just figured it out. That's great. Yeah.
Awesome. So what else I can do?
Like instead of typing out a full sentence every time, it feels like just a bit of too much, right? And there's a better way to do it. So Claude Code has a set of built-in / commands. Type a /, and you will see a full list of those commands. See, you have /init, review, branch, clear, compact. There are so many. And this is how you control Claude Code efficiently day to day instead of just prompting a big sentences. The single most important habit, and I want everyone watching to really hear this, is clear command. Run it at the start of every new task every single time.
Okay, but what exactly does it do?
It wipes the conversation history. History takes up your token budget, and stale context from a previous task can actually confuse Claude Code on the current one. Think of it like closing all your browser tabs before starting something new.
Got it. So I'll just clear it and it says no context and it cleared everything.
That's super cool. And you have something called a /compact. It's a softer version. Instead of wiping your history, it summarizes it. Uses that when you're in middle of the task and session is getting long, but you don't want to lose everything.
Got it. Okay, let me just try that quickly. Compact. And I think it is working.
Yeah, it's trying to compact your conversation. That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. The next one is we have something called a /plan. That is something I want to highlight. It puts Claude into read-only mode. Claude reads all your files and lays out exactly what it would change before it touches anything.
So like a dry run before it actually makes changes, right?
Exactly. Cool. Let's switch to a different commands. And the most important one everybody would be thinking, how do I switch the models, right? We have /model. And this is very helpful whenever you are in middle of the session and you can just select whether you want to go with haiku or opus. The default one, as we already mentioned at the beginning of this session, it is going to be sonnet. So default, it is selected as sonnet, and then you can just switch the context whichever you want.
Yep, I'll go with the default one itself.
And let's check the other commands. You have something called a /diff. It just shows your current Git differences before commenting.
It says I don't have any Git differences at this moment.
Yeah. So, and you have something called as @file name. You put this inline in your prompt to reference a specific file.
Yep. Let me try @file name. As I press @, I can see all the suggestions coming over here itself. Let me check with package.json itself. It is a simple one.
Yeah. Correct. If you just put in symbol and then you can just follow along the suggestions provided by the Claude and then pick up which of the files that you want. And it just gets the full file much cleaner ways. You don't have to kind of just type anything.
Right. So instead of pasting the entire file itself, it will take the context automatically. Right?
That is correct. Yeah.
This is nice.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on. You can interrupt that if it is taking a lot of time. And there is a command called as exclamatory symbol which is at the top of your number 1. Yeah. So when you press this command, this one is really useful. It lets you run your shell commands directly. Say, for example, now this window is a Claude window, right? It is not kind of a terminal which is using. And if you want to use the shell commands directly, you want to git commit, you don't want to use the prompt. That's where the exclamatory symbol or command comes in very handy. Inside the session itself, you can use the shell commands directly. Now you can just try with any commands, npm, run, git status, anything, whichever you want to test it.
Yep. You can see I don't have any test cases, as well as this repository is not initialized. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, it says I am on my main branch and I don't have anything to commit.
That is cool. Yeah. You always have to cd project file so that there is a .git file there for you to kind of just check the status. Okay, now let's proceed. So these are all the built-in commands we just discussed, right? And there are something called as custom commands, which are like very powerful. These are prompts you write yourself as markdown files and they become /commands. Let me show you a few that are already set up in this project. Can you just open any file? Doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, I'm already on my index file.
Yeah, I see that. Can you just see any function you have got and then say /explain and hit enter?
Okay, let me just go with this function, get best mime type, and let me do a /explain around it. Let's see what we'll get. It is already telling me like what it does, which is true, right? It gets the best capable mime type of that, as well as it tells me how it works, which is really neat as well. And it tells me the key decisions. Oh, it even gave me a couple of gotchas as well. That's nice. That is cool. That's the difference between documentation and understanding. Right? Okay, cool. And now at the same file, can you type /security? Sure. Let me try that. Just to mention, like this is our custom scale itself, and it's working. And it asked me to whether it should run npm audit or not, which is a good thing. Like it will check for all the installed packages that I have.
That's cool. Security is very important, and security reviews are one of the most important thing which I can think of.
Right. So before this, I was pretty much aware, like I don't have any security issues, but it gives me a medium and a low. Thank God it is just giving me medium and lows. Okay, now it gave a bunch of highs as well.
Yeah, correct. Now you know before the PR, right, that it is very much required for you to do slash security check. Yeah, and one more most important thing is slash review, and that should come before even you generate a PR.
Okay, it is done with my code review itself, and it is saying a critical issue or critical cases that I need to fix, as well as it says, okay, so these are the warnings. Awesome. I didn't know I had these many issues.
Yeah. See, now kind of you are understanding how the review and security works, right? And did you also observe it also overlaps? But that is not, they're not the same things.
Yep, secure issues are just adversarial, but this review is like architectural. I can see the difference.
Yeah, this could even break or confuse someone.
Let me just ask it to fix it.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Correct. We can watch what happens, right? Because we are not trying to pick up individual risks or issues listed by Claude. Instead, we're just giving one prompt that, hey, pick up both the security and review issues and then try to kind of fix it.
It says all clean. Oh, it is even creating a summary for me, like what all line it has changed and everything, or what all issues it had fixed. This is nice. This is pretty neat. So what else I can do?
Okay, now we are done with most of the things. Just let's do something with the test commands, okay? The test custom commands, not the inbuilt one. So can you just do slash test and just go to any of your file?
I'll just go with this index.js. It's a file that I'm working upon. I'll just go with that. I don't actually have a testing framework in this project, so I don't know what Claude is gonna do. It didn't found my just .config file. It didn't even found like any testing patterns. So it is telling me that it will create both, which is awesome. So I can just lay back and see it in action, what it does.
Very important for us to understand that it rightly found out which framework it is needed. Just framework is needed, right?
Right.
So it didn't take up something different framework because it understood rightly project structure, and then it's just pointing out the right direction for you to install the right framework.
Yep.
You already see a couple of changes in your...
Right. So I can see these, but it had created my Babel config and updated my package.json with the test command and everything.
Cool.
This is pretty cool. Like it is working in action and everything.
Cool. So I think this will take a little bit time because it has to set up the framework and then create the test cases and everything. So let's interrupt and then go on. Proceed with further commands. So let's stage whatever you got. You can run the following commands of the Git, like slash commit, run the Git differences, the stage differences, all these things you can just do step by step.
Let me just do a git commit and let me just do a commit and let's see whether it checks for all the differences or not. It is checking for that already.
Wow, that's cool.
This is nice.
Yeah.
And it even suggests me a commit message and ask whether I should approve it or not. This looks good. I can approve it.
Everything is done. Just all you have to say is yes. I like this.
Awesome. So before even running the command itself, git commit, it asks for my approval. So yeah, like that sort of double safeguarding is there. Right. And it had made a commit. Awesome. A clean commit.
Yeah, cool. Okay, clean commit we are into. Just to be clear for everyone watching, slash explain, security review, test, and slash commit are all custom commands. They live in right in your .plot slash commands as markdown files. Check that folder in your repo and every developer on your team gets them from day one.
So the whole team gets the same workflow automatically. That's actually a big deal for consistency.
That is correct. If there is one feature I would tell every developer to set up first before anything else, it is Claude.md. This is a secret weapon. Claude.md is a markdown file that Claude Code reads automatically at the start of every single session. Think of it as a persistent briefing document.
So like a readme, but for Claude specifically?
Exactly that. You write it once, your project context, your preferences, your coding standards, and Claude just knows all of that every time without you re-explaining anything.
So instead of starting every session with we are using TypeScript, our testing framework is just etc. etc. It will do that automatically.
That is correct. You just write it once and it just lives there forever every session. There are two levels. One is at the global level. The file called as global Claude/Claude MD applies to every project on your machine. That's where you put your universal preferences, your preferred language, testing framework, commit message format, etc. And the another one is at the project level. It is project specific, committed to your repo. So every teammate's Claude session starts with the same shared context automatically. Claude Code can actually generate a starting version for you. Anmol, now can you type /n in it?
Let me do that. I just did.
It start looking at your project folder structure. And
Okay.
yeah.
It had created a cloud.md file now. I accept it. There it is.
Wow. It checked everything, your dependencies.
What are my commands? How do I do testing? What's my architecture looks like? What is the testing framework? What we do for publishing? It does all that.
This is the one which lives in your project folder. That's your starting point. The real value comes from what you add on top of it. Like, for example, if you want to change the commit message format or your preferred libraries, team specific guidelines, things Claude wouldn't know from looking at the code alone.
Awesome. So let me just add a couple of lines. Say something like for testing, use test, and for integration test, end-to-end testing, use Playwright as a framework. Right. Let me just do that. Hopefully from the next time it will use Playwright and all those things.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yep. Let me do one more thing as well. Something like, let me add one more section over here. Something like housekeeping, where I'll just select use convention commit messages before make commit. Yep.
So these preferences are baked in from the start, right? Whenever you open the Claude session in the project next time. It's like just invest once, benefit every session afterwards. This next part is where Claude Code starts to feel genuinely different from anything else out there. Subagents and MCP. Subagents let Claude spin up multiple specialized AI instances that work in parallel. You define agent files in .claude/agents. Each one has a name, a role, a goal, and optionally a specific model.
So Claude can delegate work to other Claudes.
Exactly. Where you give Claude a complex task, it can split the pieces. A database agent handles schema changes, a front-end agent handles the component, a testing agent writes the test, all running at the same time, reporting back to a lead agent.
Simultaneously, like actually in parallel?
Simultaneously. Demonstrated 16 agents collaborating to build a C compiler. For everyday work, it's more like 3 or 4, but even that is a meaningful time saving on large refactors.
That's wild. Okay, so one more question. What's an MCP then?
MCP, Model Context Protocol. It's an Anthropic's open standard for connecting Claude to external tools and APIs. You register MCP server in your settings.json, and Claude can call them like native tools. The destination I always use. A plugin gives Claude an information. An MCP server gives Claude the ability to take action.
So it's not just reading data, it's actually do things through the connections.
Exactly. Let me show you. We have got a browser MCP server setup. It gives Claude a real Chromium browser via Playwright. Anmol, can you just verify the connection?
Yep, I can see all these tools that are available to me. The browser is connected as well.
Good. Now, can you search something like Amazon for a React TypeScript book and show me some top 5 or 10 results?
Let me use browser open tool over here and search Amazon for React TypeScript book and show me the top 5 results.
So Claude is calling browser open. Is it trying to open a real Chromium browser in the background? Yeah, I see that. Okay. It was a hidden background, so I couldn't see that. It's actually navigated to the Amazon and did a search, right? And then did it give you the actual result?
Yep, it asked me like whether I should open Amazon directly in your browser or not. I just gave it a yes. And again, it asked for like whether it should be able to take screenshots or not. So yeah, it's doing that now. And it is also like, if you'll see, it is reading it from here.
Wow. And it just gave you the top result?
Yeah, so I had 2 books in my viewport, my initial viewport, right? So it gave me all that. And now it asks me, you want me to scroll down or not? Or dismiss the pop-ups? Everything it asks for. right? So
That's
you can
cool.
see, right, like I have this pop-up over here, I have this pop-up over here. So it even asks me for that.
That's super cool, right? I'm so thrilled to see the live data from Amazon's website.
With respect to like how it works, we just had to simply register one in our settings.json, right? And it works.
Yeah, that is correct. And it is available for every session, just not for this session alone.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, just set it up once. It just leaves there like a native tool. Claude already knows how to use it. Connect to GitHub MCP and Claude can read and update all your pull requests, connect to database and it can query with natural language. Connect to Slack and it can post summaries. Your whole tool chain becomes available to Claude to orchestrate across.
So basically anything I'd normally do in a browser or a tool, Claude can now do as a part of its workflow.
Correct. The most important thing is that earlier you used to do everything manual. Now it is like an automated, right? It's part of workflow. That's the right word to say. Since Claude Code is taking real actions, just we saw, writing files, running commands, committing to Git, there has to be a way to control exactly what is allowed to do, right? That's what we have been just highlighting settings.json is for.
This is like a control panel to Claude, right? Settings.json.
Exactly. Everything lives there. What Claude can run without even asking you, what it is never allowed to do it, which models to use, environment variables, and even automatic actions that triggers after certain events. Let's go through each one of them. Can you just open your settings.json?
Sure. I over here only.
Okay. So first thing you will see, it is the allow block under permissions. And just can you see a couple of information in that array?
Yep, it has ability to install any packages. It even has like ability to run my npm install.
This comes under allow section where you are just allowing to use that. Likewise, you can also define the where you don't want the Claude to kind of use that and execute for rest of your actions. You can just very well create a deny array and then you can define the rules there. Just to make sure that on the allow side, make sure that you can just specify the tools and commands where you can whitelist like bash kits. Means Claude can run that any git commands without asking for it, right? You don't have to kind of give repetitive prompts again and again, right? That's the idea.
Right. So in allow, I should not probably put rmrf, something like this, right? So it won't accidentally nuke my entire project.
That is correct. That's absolutely right. So rimref, no. Right. So it can, as you just rightly mentioned, it can also escalate the permissions. Auto approve false is a default one. It means for anything not on either the list, Claude asks you before acting upon it. You see exactly what it wants to do before it does it. That's what we have been doing, right? Anmol is trying to approve, saying yes, proceed, etc.
In here itself, I can see I have an ability to model and env configs as well. What about that?
Good spot. This is where you pin which model Claude Code uses by default. You set your primary model, Sonnet in this case, which we saw earlier, and a small model for lightweight background tasks like summarization or quick lookups. That way, you are not burning Sonnet tokens on things like which Haiku can do.
So it automatically routes to a cheaper model for smaller tasks.
Exactly. You get the right model for the right job without thinking about it every time.
There is an env block too. So what about that?
That's where you inject environment variables into every Claude sessions automatically. So node underscore environment set to development, your database underscore your anything Claude needs access to when it is running commands or spinning up processes. You don't have to export them manually every time.
So Claude has the right environment context from the moment a session starts.
Right. Now, the last one, and it is the most powerful and the least talk about, hooks.
Hooks, like event hooks?
Exactly, like event hooks. You define actions that run automatically when Claude does something. The example here is a post tool use hook. It triggers every time Claude writes a file. The matcher is set to write, and the commander it runs is npx prettier, like write file.
So every time Claude writes a file, it automatically runs prettier on it.
Without you asking for it, without a custom command. It just happens. Your code is always formatted to your standards the moment it is written.
That's actually really elegant. So you could hook into any tool, not just for writes, but anything, right?
Any tool you use it. You could run your linter after every bash commands, trigger a test after every file change, and post a Slack notification after a commit, whatever fits your workflow. Set it up once in the way we just did earlier, settings.json. and it runs silently at the background every session.
So settings.json is basically where you take Claude Code from a general tool to something that fits for your entire team.
So 6 quick power user habits before we wrap up. 1, clear. Constantly start for every new task. We've said this multiple times and we will say it again because it is the thing people keep forgetting.
Every single task.
That is correct. 2, be specific in your prompts. Like review index.jst for JWT vulnerabilities will get you dramatically better results than check my code, check what happens. Cloud performs in proportion to the context you give it.
So the more specific you are, the better the output is. Simple rule.
That is correct. Number 3, Control V for images. You can paste a screenshot directly into the sessions. A bug screenshot, a design mockup, a browser console error. Just paste it in. And note, it is like control, not command, even on Mac. That one catches people out.
Caught me out on the first time itself.
Next one is press escape to interrupt, to stop Claude mid-task. If it is going down the wrong path or by mistake you have approved it and you want to review it, it stops without killing the session. So you can redirect it later as well.
Yep, we even did that a lot of times today only.
5th one is double escape. It jumps back to any previous message in the session history. Good for when you want to branch off from an earlier point.
Oh, I didn't know that. That one sounds useful.
Yeah, you can try that later on. And the next one is chain at the rate. Just we tried, right? You just put the at the rate in any file name tags, and you can say compare with the at the rate source old file name with the new file name, and you can do a comparison between that. So it's dramatically more powerful than pasting file contents manually. Claude gets full file context for both, and comparison is much more accurate.
And that works for as many as files you want.
As many as you need, stack them. Okay, now that's the complete engineer playbook guide to Claude Code. Anmol, you did everything live. How is it actually?
Honestly, smoother than I expect. The install is genuinely fast. Once you are in a session, it just clicks. The slash commit movement was the one that actually got me. The fact that it drafts the message and waits for your approval exactly. That's the right set of balance.
It is. And everything we set up today, the Claude MD, the custom commands, the compounds, every session after this benefit from it. 5 things to do after you close this video. Install and verify today. Don't leave it for later. Create your global Claude.md with your preferences. Build 3 custom commands for things you do every day. Connect one MCP tool you're already using and then experiment it. The more you invest in the setup, the more every session gives back.
All the files from today are in description. The Claude.md template, commands, the MCP setup guide, everything you need to get started.
If this was useful, like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us make more of this. We'll see you in the next one.
And don't forget to check our website, engineerplaybook.io. We post regularly over there as well. See you in the next one.